There it is. James chapter 1, verse 5. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God. This is James talking, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. Not going to try to explain every word in here. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. That was Job. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea driven with the wind and tossed. In other words, someone who's in and out of good stuff. Bad, they just are not grounded in the faith, simply put. God says, if you're going to ask me something, make sure you're doing it right. The right way of living. Why do you think I read about Job first? Job did the right stuff, and God blessed him in the end. Because all that stuff happened to him was because of the meeting that happened up in heaven, because Satan was there, all right? Not going to talk about that. You need to read the book of Job yourself. It's kind of long, and you're not going to understand all the stuff right away either. But if you stick it up there, God will bring it to your remembrance at the right time and give you the understanding. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. That's someone who's asking and doesn't deserve it. That was the other three guys there. The other three guys that God says, I ain't listening to you. You talk to Job and I'll hear him. All right? He says it right here all over again. Can you imagine how this was put together tonight? I didn't know I was going to do this. I read that stuff first, and it's explaining what I'm reading now. God puts this stuff together, and I'm excited about it. Look at me. I just read a few verses, and I'm jumping. And I'm drinking the Texas spring water, baby. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Let the brother of low degree rejoice in that he is exalted. Like I said, I'm not going to explain this stuff. I'm just going to read it to you. But the rich in that he is made low, because as the flower of the grass he shall pass away. It takes a lot of reading of this book and explaining by God over a length of time, because you got to live through all the experiences that James is talking about here before God can explain it to you. Does that make sense? Does it make sense that I started reading this thing over 40 years ago? Now I'm 70 years old, and I'm sharing it with other people. But it took all that time of me reading this, sticking it in here, so that God was able to bring it back out and explain it to somebody else. And guess what? He's using my mouth to do it. And I'm happy to do it. For the sun is no sooner risen with a burning heat, but it withereth the grass, and the flower thereof falleth, and the grace of the fashion of it perisheth. So also shall the rich man fade away in his ways. We're talking about scumbag rich people here, not the people that share their money properly. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation. Wow. I tripped up on that. During that time, I tripped up, man. God picked me up, dried my tears, and cleaned me up, and stuck me right back on the path. And here I am today, talking to you. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. You see the catch there? The crown of everlasting life is given to those who love God. What's the biggest thing that's happening in America today that's causing America's downfall? It's Planned Parenthood and the Supreme Court, who says it's legal to kill the babies in the womb at any time. It don't make any difference how pregnant you are. You want to kill your kid? You can do it. It has caused America to almost totally crumble before God. God is faithful to his children, the ones that love him. Let's say it right there. Which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. You know who one of them people is? Me and my wife. I'm not trying to tell you I'm a goody two-shoe, or my wife, because we are not. But we do not deliberately walk down the wrong path. You should hear my wife talking to Jesus every single day. It's amazing. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man. Didn't I just talk about that earlier? And here I am reading it now. Further proof when I tell you that God will bring it to your remembrance and explain it. Right now he's using me, and I hope I'm explaining it to somebody who just started looking at these videos recently. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. You hear the people out there preaching, yeah, God tempted you. You know, he's putting this temptation in front of you. There it's written right there. It's not God. It's Satan. Then when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. The soul, that's what's preached about today. The soul goes to heaven when you die. The soul that sinneth will die. What is the soul? Right here. God breathed into man the breath of life, and man became a living soul. When it is finished, sin bringeth forth death. Do not err, my beloved. No, it says, do not err, my beloved brethren. He's talking about his Christian brothers here. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. Of his own will begat he us with the word of truth. Wow. That we should be a kind of first fruits of his creatures. This is James talking to a particular group of people here. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. Wherefore, lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your souls. Now, when he says save your souls, he's talking about saving your whole body. Be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. Most people out there preach, do as I say, but not as I do. The instructions are written in this book, and God is telling you to do it. I got to get another one of these. Boy, I'm going to be peeing again. I like doing this. I love reading this book. He talks to your heart. You can hear God. Just in what I did tonight, in these first two segments, the presence of God entered into this room while I was doing this and gave me the understanding of all of this stuff so that I was able to share it with you. Can you dig it? Huh? For if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. For he beholdeth himself, and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was. In other words, he doesn't remember what he saw. But whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty, and continueth therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed. All that stuff is self-explanatory there. Think about it. Open up your Bible and study the book of James, just like I'm doing right here. I want you to read it, stick it in there. Sometime in the future, hey, it might be 50 years from now, and God will give you the proper understanding of it. If any man among you seem to be religious, a lot of people out there you think are religious, huh? And bridleth not his tongue, but deceiveth his own heart, this man's religion is in vain. There's a lot of people you hear out there saying, God bless America, God bless you, God bless this, and God bless that. The phony people talk like that. You don't hear me saying that kind of stuff. Because I know God looks right through. He sees everything. He understands where it comes from. I'm actually kind of quiet when it comes to stuff like that. Because here's the proper fear of the Lord. I'm actually afraid for myself to say something that I might not mean in my heart And God's going to say, hey, man, why'd you say that? I know what you were thinking. I know that he knows. So I don't do it. Why be dumb, man? Why die before it's time? That verse is in here also. Pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this: to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. In other words, help out the people that need you, and it's usually the old folks, like me, ha ha ha. And stay away from all the crap that's happening out there in the world. That's pure religion. You know, just recently a man died that I listened to a lot of times on TV. Some recorded stuff. Billy Graham, a lot of his preaching things that he did all over the world. You know, he had one message. Looking right at me, he is saying, you're a sinner, and the wages of sin is death. Somebody has to pay that debt. Jesus came and paid the debt for me. Therefore, that everlasting death is not going to happen for me or my wife, because we accept what Jesus did for us. If any man among you seem to be religious, this is James talking to a particular group of people, and bridleth not his tongue, he just keeps running on, but deceiveth his own heart, this man's religion is in vain. You need to read that more than once. Pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this: to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. That's a religious man. That was Billy Graham. My brethren, have not the faith of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Lord of glory, with respect of persons? For if there came unto your assembly a man with a gold ring in goodly apparel, and there came in also a poor man in vile raiment. Now he's going to be talking about somebody looking at two different people, one who's nice and clean and wealthy and all that stuff, and the beggar man over on this side. How are you going to react to those people? And ye have respect to him that weareth the gay clothing, and say unto him, sit thou here in a good place, and say to the poor, stand thou there, or sit here under my footstool. That's self-explanatory also. I'll knock this off and I'm coming right back. James chapter 2 and verse 4.